Hey, how's it going? In today's video, I want to talk about weed stocks because weed is a popular topic right now. Like you see it all in the discourse, you see it in articles, you see it in videos. Canada has legalized weed. Weed is still illegal at a federal level in the U.S., but different states are legalizing weed. And so it's a topic of discussion. Even in the states where weed is not legal yet, you see politicians talking about it. So it's in the discussions, in the works. People have very big views on it. Shouldn't be legal. It should be legalized. But you see all these places. It's in the talks and it's being legalized in different areas. And so you see a pop up of like actual weed companies right now. I kind of want to like go into that and go into like they just reported earnings, what they're doing now, how is it going, how is that space looking as far as like weed stocks and actually putting your money into these weed companies, okay, and these weed stocks, all right. And so let's look at like how these companies and these stocks have been doing. To investors that have been in it from the beginning have seen astronomical gains. But just looking at the numbers, Afria, one of the top weed stocks and weed companies, is up 46% this month in about 30 days. It's up about 46%, almost 50%. Crazy. Aurora is up about 12% this month. Canopy Growth is up 28% the past 3 months. Tilray is down 34% these past 3 months, but is up 243% this year. 243. If you would have invested your money into Tilray, I wouldn't advise anyone at the beginning, like when they IPO'd and everything, to do that. But just because it's so volatile and I don't know, it's a lot of risk. But to be up 243%, so crazy. The investors that's been in it for a while, have been in it from the beginning, have seen astronomical gains. With that, valuations for these companies have began to soar. Not began, but they've been soaring. And so I think the question is this justified? Like, is this growth justified for what it is and for what these companies do and for everything like that? I want to like kind of go into that and talk about that because some people are saying like, oh, these valuations for these weed companies are not justified. They're not justified, and there may be a pullback coming, or like this space is not carved out yet. And so just looking at some of the companies, they reported earnings very recently. Tilray, they had revenue up of almost 85%. So huge amount of increase, double digit, not just double digit, but up there, 85% revenue increase. Um, Crazy growth, but they had a net loss around $18.7 million for the third quarter. Aurora Cannabis, they had revenue increase of around 260%. Um, but they had about a $112 million operating loss. And if you see me looking down, I'm looking down on my notes at the numbers on my computer. And so Canopy Growth, their revenue was up almost 33%. But they had a net loss of $330.6 million. And so I think one thing to note is that with these companies, and as with a lot of emerging companies, costs are going up way faster than revenue. And so as they're ramping up production of like weed and like they're ramping up these different, building their company up, these costs that they have to pay are going up faster than the money that they are pulling in through revenue. And so when I look at companies like these, there are a lot of risks going. There are a lot of risks with these companies, and some of them that I've seen and I've noted. One thing to note is that cost per gram is falling in Canada as the government is buying bulk. And so these companies can't sell directly to retailers in Canada. And so, for example, Tilray's average per gram fell to $6.21 from $7.53. So their cost per gram is going down. That's not exactly a good thing. What the government is paying for the weed at the end of the day is going down. So the cost per gram is falling. So that's one thing to know, to look at. Another risk that I see is that valuations are sky high for these companies. And I don't know that it's all that justified. So valuations are sky high on some of these stocks. Some of these stocks are trading at around 20 to 55 times earnings. And a lot of people compare these weed stocks to the likes of like tobacco companies or like alcohol companies. And if you do this, if you compare these to those type of companies, then you should say like they should be more in line with the alcohol or tobacco companies at around 10 to 14 times earnings. And so their valuations are very, very high. But with these risks, I see a lot of like bullishness in this sector and bullishness for these stocks. I think this is going to be a very big space, and so I think a position in the weed space would be good in the following years. It might take some time, but as far as bullishness, weed is still illegal in a lot of places. A lot of places. It's not even legal in the U.S. Just some states in the U.S., but it's in the talks with other states and maybe even at a federal level. And so weed is still illegal in a lot of places, which means that there's so much more room to growth for these companies if weed becomes legal in these places. So that's one thing to think about, is like this could be a very big business as far as like other companies legalizing around the world. There's so much room for growth. The UK just actually allowed for doctors to start prescribing medicinal marijuana actually very recently. So the UK just allowed that to happen. If Germany comes around, if the US legalizes it at a federal level, then it can become like the tobacco or the alcohol industry, which if you know those industries, those are very like top performing industries. If you've been following like Altria, Philip Morris, and you look at some of the top performing companies in the past like 20-30 years, those companies are up there because of what they sell. And now it's becoming a thing, like, and smoking is on the decline, the sale of cigarettes are on the decline. But just thinking back to the past like 20-30 years, Philip Morris, Altria have been doing great. The alcohol industry has been doing great. And so for the next coming years, for a while, like I'm not sure exactly when, I can't predict exactly when, but I feel the weed space is going to be doing great also. And so it's a new industry, and this is a long-term story, so you would have to be patient. With that being said, I couldn't tell you like which one is gonna be it, because there's so many different weed stocks. Like there's Afria, I just named out Afria, Campus Canopy Growth. There is Tilray, and then there's Aurora. And so and there's plenty more, but those are like the top four as of right now. You can buy MJ, which is an ETF, exchange traded fund, which kind of like has all four holdings of these and probably more of the weed stocks. So you can buy like a composite index of these stocks, so you don't have to kind of like bet on one. But at the end of the day, it's so hard for me to like put my money into one, because this industry may change so much in the next couple of years. Like one company you put your money into today may not even be here tomorrow. And I say that very figuratively, not like tomorrow, but I'm saying like in the next couple of years. Like this will be a very fast moving industry. As far as like these sky high valuations today and things like that, like this, I would keep this as like a spec. If you're gonna pick like one stock, like I would keep this as like a speculative investment, or like a little bit of a low position in this as far as like your portfolio goes. That's what I would do. But what are you guys' thoughts on like weed stocks and like where the industry is going, where it's at right now? What are your thoughts on the different weed companies? Like which one would you put your money into? Would you just put your money into an ETF? What do you think about everything that's going on right now? Because weed is the talk of the town right now. And as far as like weed companies and weed stocks also. So leave your comments down below. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be uploading more videos about the stock market, financials, anything. Alright, so stay tuned. And I'll talk with you guys next time.